That's like Saturn's energy. It's like, oh, you that, huh? All right, how about this? What if I poke on this insecurity and poke on this insecurity? You still gonna be that? You still gonna be that? Oh shoot, she's still that. Oh, okay. Da 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 stop. Don't you copyright me. Nailyah Serenity. That's me. Okay. I want to talk to y'all about authenticity. So, something really interesting about me. Blame it on me having the same sun and moon sign, like with my ego being in alignment with my subconscious mind. I have been very consistent on who I am as a person since I was like young. If you would have asked me 8 years ago, what are my 3 favorite things, and then asked me today, the answers would be very, very similar, if not exactly the same. And I kind of had to like grow into understanding that people change. Because I've been very consistent on who I am, the circumstances around me have changed, including people. They've shifted, which is good. That's life. That's supposed to happen. And of course, I haven't stayed exactly the same. It hasn't been any stagnation, I would say. It's more of course, I grow, I mature, but I've been pretty consistent on who I am and just learning more and more and more about myself as I go. And I say that because when I look back at younger years, you know, a lot of times we cringe at ourselves. And I cringe. Oh, honey, I cringe. But it's strange because I don't feel like I cringe at the things that people would think I cringe at. I don't cringe at the crazy outfits I would wear. I don't cringe at moments where I've caused a lot of attention to myself, or moments where I put my foot in my mouth. Like, I don't necessarily cringe at those moments. I don't regret anything. I feel like everything's a learning experience. But I had to think and be like, the only times I can think back to something and cringe is when I wasn't operating as myself. Being young and being sure of yourself is a very big deal because it's not common. You naturally have a chip on your shoulder when you are like that because you know that people are coming for you, especially in like middle school, elementary school, high school. And it's crazy to me that when I look back, the moments that I cringe the most is when I tried to conform and when I tried to tone myself down so that I would be accepted in a way. Because for me, people always had certain ideas of me. People always had, they didn't have to know me, but people always had certain ideas of who I was and who I thought I was and what I stood for. You know, Nailyah gotta be extra, so da-da-da-da-da-da. Or it's just like, oh my God, here Nailyah go. You know, Nailah's going da-da-da. So there would be certain moments where I would intentionally be like, okay, Nailyah, just chill out because, you know, people are already gonna think you extra, so da-da-da-da-da-da, like, just chill. Like, let's try to not do too much. Like, let's just try to, like, go with the flow and, like, see what happens. And anytime I've done that, I was so uncomfortable. And the people around me probably wouldn't recognize that I was uncomfortable, but I was. That's what I cringe at. I don't cringe at the moments where I look back and I was cussing somebody out in the cafeteria. I don't cringe at the moments where I decided in middle school that I didn't want to match anymore. I literally decided that matching is annoying. I'm tired of it. Everybody does it. Who says that you have to match to be fashionable? F this. I literally decided to not match because I just didn't want to. So I would literally wear like the colors of the rainbow and just like think I was that stuff. And I was. You know why? Because that's what I chose that day. I chose before I walked out the door that I am that. And what? So one particular day when I was in the 6th grade, at the peak of my fashion extravaganza, I remember I was late to school, as I normally am. I love being late to school because the less time I had to be there, the better. So I was late to school, And, my mom's, dropping me off in the carpool, hug, kiss her, mwah, have a nice day at school, boom, bop. I get out the car, and there's 2 8th graders sitting on this little, like, step thing or whatever at my school. And, I get out, and I think I have on, like, some kind of heels and something colorful. I was wearing something colorful every day. And, I'm just minding my business, about to walk to my class. It's empty outside. Nobody's here except for these 2 8th graders. And it was this girl and this gay boy who had, like, real big mouth. Everybody knew his mouth was da-da-da. And, yeah, I just got to give y'all details so y'all could picture what I'm giving. So I'm walking, minding my business, and the girl, she gets up. And I've seen her around the school a few times before, like I always thought she was pretty. And I was just like, okay, cool. So the girl gets up, and I already feel her energy, and I feel like she's about to come at me with something crazy. She walks up to me as I'm about to turn on the steps as I'm about to go up the steps, and she goes, "You think you look cute in that?" And I look at her and I go, "Yes." And she goes, and then walks away and sits with her friend again, and they start snickering and doing whatever they're doing. And I'm just like, okay. And I continue to walk about my business. Now, what's so interesting about that moment and what's so powerful about authenticity is that in that moment, if I was a different kind of person, and if I wasn't trained and brought up to know myself, and if I wasn't trained to understand the psyche of other people, that could have been a moment that defined who I was as a person. That could have been the moment where I literally held my head down and was embarrassed about myself for the rest of the day. Because here is an upperclassman. I'm a 6th grader. This is an upperclassman, an 8th grader. Now, my school was a high school and middle school put together, so there were people higher than the 8th graders at my school. But this is an upperclassman to me. And also, she's someone who I thought was pretty. And she gets up and basically tries to, like, belittle me and make me feel a certain type of way. Like, that had to be your intention, because what else was your intention? Now, if I was a different type of person, that could have affected me for years and years and years after that. I probably could have been like, okay, like, yeah, Nailyah, this isn't cool. Like, let's just change yourself because da-da-da-da. Luckily, I have a strong support system, and I was always around people who could educate me. And in that moment, she just showed me herself. That's really what happened. She showed me how insecure she was. She showed me the level of misery that she was at in her life. From that moment, I knew her home situation wasn't good. She probably hates herself. She doesn't feel accepted anywhere, so she probably tries to fit in. And she's unhappy. Just by that action, you've revealed so much of yourself to me. You've given me so much of your power. Because I'm a little 6th grader. Why are you checking for me? From that moment, I knew that there was a level of competition because of her insecurity. I'm a 6th grader. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole here. It's like, dang, like, she's really insecure. And what's crazy is you don't even know what I thought of you. You don't know that I thought you were absolutely beautiful. You don't know that I thought you were talented because I've heard you sing a few times here and there. I went to art school. You don't know this. But from that moment on, a shift happened. The cool points that I had for you went down because you showed me who you were. You revealed yourself to me in that moment. And who you were, your character, nasty. And it's only nasty because of, obviously, there's much more going on. You're a kid yourself. But it's just crazy that me as a 6th grader had to digest that pill as, dang, she must have an awful life. Because your intention in that moment was to tear me down to build yourself up. And little do you know that I understood that. What she said to me more so, like, surprised me. Like, kind of took me back. Like, did she just say that to me? Like, what was the point? Like, that was how I felt. It wasn't like, I didn't feel like bad afterwards, because you can't tear me down. You can't What did NDR say? There ain't no substitute for the truth. Either it is or it isn't. You see the truth, it needs no proof. Either it is or it isn't. And you know the truth by the way it feels. And if I am a reflection of him, then I must be fly, because his light, it shines so bright. When you walk in your authenticity, you are the truth. So I wasn't affected by someone trying to mess up my energy, my confidence, trying to basically tear me down. You didn't like that I strutted high in whatever kind of craziness I was wearing that day, because I know I was wearing something crazy. Years go by. I'm in high school. She's in high school. You know, she's 2 levels higher than me. And we get to points where she probably doesn't think I remember that. She probably barely even remembers it, but I remember it. Because that's a moment that shaped your character for me. That you painted the picture of who you were for me from that day. That was the first thing you've ever said to me out of your mouth. So we get to high school, and I still feel the level of insecurity with her. And it's crazy because what you don't understand is when people do stuff like that, or when you do stuff like that, you give away your power. Because I know you. Whatever facade, whatever persona you've put up so that other people could believe you were a certain way, I see right through it. Because you showed me who you were. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not making this video just so I can like talk about this girl. I want y'all to get the bigger picture in this. Because I chose that I looked fly, I looked good before I walked out the house. That's what I was. I was fly. So it didn't matter what the devil, what negative energy decided to come my way that day, trying to attack that knowing that I already put in myself before I stepped foot out the door. None of that mattered. Authenticity is power. Because I wasn't trying to prove myself to her either. I wasn't trying to prove myself even with the outfit. Because I chose that this is what I am before I walked out the door, that's who I was. And so it was, and so it is, and so it was. And the crazy thing about authenticity is that when you are truly authentic, you are going to have people gunning for you. Because there's a lot of people who envy the fact that you are able to walk in your skin, flaws and all, and say, "F it, bitch, this is me." And what? Who are you? But like I said, years later, we end up in the same plays, monologue competitions, certain things like that where, we were close enough to see each other perform, like one-to-one. And, some of the people that she's friends with are friends with me. And some of the people that admire her admire me. But there was always this level of just like I felt the insecurity. And also how you keep your power is giving grace. Because I knew how insecure she was, I didn't take it personally. Authenticity is a power when you are able to understand the emotions and the thoughts within your head, but not necessarily act off of them. When you're able to understand why you feel certain type of ways. Heck, even if she made me feel insecure, am I able to bring myself up and out of that? Do I know myself well enough to be like, nah, that's who she said I was, but this is who I am? Because this is what I chose. Authenticity is a challenge in a world of people who are taught to conform to something else besides what their truth is. I've lost many friends. I've seen many people grow. And don't get me wrong, this isn't to toot my horn or anything or say that, oh, I'm the blueprint for authenticity. No, that's not that. But my authenticity, my creation, my expression is something that I've always been determined to do no matter what. And if it helps, I have Chiron in the 5th house, so. But that's something that I've always been determined to do. No matter how much scrutiny I got, because it felt good to be like, I don't even care. And it's so crazy because when you start to operate in your authenticity, people catch on. Like, you're going to get some stares, you're going to get some talk, you're going to get people trying to shoot you down because they testing you. That's like Saturn's energy. It's like, oh, you that, huh? All right, how about this? What if I poke on this insecurity and poke on this insecurity? You still gonna be that? You still gonna be that? Oh shoot, she's still that. Oh, okay. Then boom. That energy leaves you alone after a while. But you have to walk in your authenticity first. And you have to choose to walk into your authenticity. And walking in your authenticity, you have to know what you're choosing to walk in. If you're choosing to be that, you're that. And that's period. If you're choosing to be that creative, you're that creative. And that's period. If you're choosing to be that intellectual, you are that intellectual. And that's on period. So nothing else dictates anything about who you are. And I feel like if people just learn that and understand that, the world would just be a better place. And I'm talking about in the artistic field, in a corporate field, if you're a freaking farmer, like I don't care what it is. If people chose to walk in their authenticity, if you chose this morning that you woke up and you are that hot girl, then you are that hot girl. No matter what it looks like, you are that hot girl with your glasses and your sweater and your low-rise jeans. You are that hot girl. You're not Megan's hot girl. You're not Sarah's hot girl. You're not Ann's hot girl. You are that hot girl. If you chose that you are that intellectual, if you chose that you are that scientist, you are that scientist. You just have to choose it and be it. Anything that tests you, understand it's a test. That girl that day, I'm so grateful for that moment because that moment taught me how strong I am as a person to be able to dust that off my back like, what? That situation is something that God sent to me as a test. And also for me to know this is who you are. You see how you handled that? Good job. It was a test. You say you free. You say you authentic. You say you confident. Are you? Are you? So you say you a spiritual being. Are you? So what you gonna do now? Now you got beef with this girl now? After she said this to you, now you got beef? Now every time you see her in the hallway, you gonna roll your eyes. You gonna give her your energy, give her your power. Every single time you see her? Heck no, I ain't do none of that. I let that girl go on about her business the way I went on about my business. Because, I got bigger fish to fry. I got other things to think about. I got other greater, beautiful, more positive things to fill my mind with and fill my intentions with. Besides dedicating a certain level of my power to you just to show you that that day you made me feel a certain type of way. Because the crazy thing about it is you did it. Why? Because I chose before I left that house this morning that I look fly. I look good. And I knew that because me looking fly and my version of looking fly and my version of looking good and my version of looking hot was definitely not what everybody else's version was. I already knew that there was going to be some people that were in opposition to what my truth was. But that's their truth. It ain't mine. And that is one thing that I am grateful that I learned at a very, very early age, because that is a freaking survival tip. The longer you postpone practicing it, the harder it is going to be for you to live life and actually live it. Not just look like you living it, not just live it, doing what you want to do, living how you want to live, looking how you want to look, not because you see it on a piece of paper and you want to look like this, or you see it in a magazine because you want to like this, or you see it on Instagram so you want to like this. I mean, what is beautiful to you without the clutter of what is taught to you, without the clutter of what is acceptable in society, but literally what comes out of your own brain, your own mind, manifested into real life is the most beautiful thing ever. And that's what authenticity is. And if you're not living in your authenticity, if you can't find it, take a break, detox from other things so that you can center yourself and find it within yourself. And say, fuck everybody else who's in opposition to your truth, because they ain't got nothing to do with your truth. Now, that was my TED Talk for today, y'all. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something from it. I have more videos on the way. I appreciate y'all listening to me. Please tell me about a time where you were scrutinized for being authentic. No matter in what way. I want to know. I want to hear your stories. But yeah. Thank you for watching. Love you, girl. Bye.
Nailyah Serenity. That's me.